So lying down on your back. And maybe you're lying down with the legs stretched out long. A little bit of space between the legs. Let the feet flop out to the sides. Or if there is any discomfort in the low back, bend the knees, have the feet wide, knees knocking in. And we'll just take these first few moments just to let the body settle, to let the body rest. Start to put aside your morning, anything that's happened so far today. Anything that you've got planned for this afternoon or for the rest of the week. Just leaving that to one side for the next 60 minutes. And bringing yourself fully into your space, fully into your body. Take a deep breath in through the nose and let it out through the mouth. Deep breath in, long breath out through the mouth. Gradually allowing the whole body to rest, to release little areas of tension. You can take another deep breath in and long breath out the mouth if you wish. Maybe you take a few more of these. Just gradually softening through the body, allowing your legs to become heavy, your arms to be heavy, your shoulders soften, your face softens, and take the tongue off the roof of the mouth. And then coming to find a slow, steady breath. Breathing deep on the inhale, lengthening out your exhale. And feeling that gentle rise and fall of your stomach or your rib cage. And really taking your time with your breath. There's no rush here. There's nothing else that you need to be doing. Just focusing on the rhythm of your breath. And if your mind keeps drifting off, gently guide it back to your breath. Take a few more rounds. Really allowing yourself this time to enjoy your breath, to enjoy a moment of stillness, of peace. And when you're ready, starting to bring a little bit of movement into the fingers, into the toes, rolling through the wrists and the ankles, and bringing a little bit of life back into the body, a little bit of movement. Just noticing how the joints feel today. Remember not to bring any judgment in, just noticing the body, observing the little movements that you're making. And then starting to bend the knees, starting to bring the knees up into the chest. You can take your time here. And then maybe you give yourself a hug, maybe you're wrapping your arms around your shins or the backs of the thighs. Maybe you have a little rock from side to side. Or you can take one hand on each knee. Or if you want to, you can peel your head and shoulders off the mat and bring the nose towards the knee. Finding a little lift in your pelvic floor, drawing your belly button in towards the spine. And just a couple of breaths wherever you are. Placing the feet down to the floor, make sure that the feet aren't too close together, they're not too wide. And then bring the hands down by the sides of the body, plant the palms into the floor. Knees are pointing up. And with your inhale, start to peel your hips off the floor. Peel your middle back off the floor. Keep your shoulder blades resting down. And then with your exhale, roll the back all the way down to the floor, connect the hips. Inhale, peel the hips off the floor, rolling up through the spine to that point between the shoulder blades. And then exhale to roll it down. So take your time here, keep moving. Inhale to lift, rolling up the spine, a slight squeeze of the bum at the top. And then exhale, roll it down, feeling each vertebrae connect to the mat. And we're just starting to warm up the spine, warm up the thighs, the hamstrings, warming up the front of the body and the back of the body. So keep moving, keep rolling. And the next time your hips lift, hold them there. So it doesn't need to be too high. You can be in a half bridge here, or maybe your hips are slightly lower. Bend the elbows. So we're plugging the elbows and the upper arms into the floor. Make a fist. Bring the weight into your left foot and start to lift your right heel off the floor. So we're keeping the right toes pressing down. Keep pushing down through the left foot so you're feeling your left butt cheek squeeze here. So we're starting to switch the muscles on. If you want to take it further, you can pick your right foot off the floor, hover the foot about an inch off the floor. Just be mindful of your back here. Keep pushing down through that left foot. Remember, you can set the toes down and just lift the heel. Breathe for 3. Keep pressing down through the upper arms. For 2. And for 1. Set the foot down to the floor and roll your back all the way down. Connect the hips. And then just allow the hands to rest. Maybe on the stomach, maybe down by the sides of you. Make any little movements here that you need to. So that might be a swish of the knees from side to side. Or hug the knees into the chest, whatever feels best for you. Before we take it on the other side. So coming back to center, plant the feet into the floor. Bend the elbows, make a fist. Really push down through your elbows and your upper arms. With your inhale, start to peel the hips off the floor. Peel your middle back. Come to that half bridge. Keep pushing down through the elbows. Bring the weight into the right foot and start to lift your left heel off the floor. Squeeze through your right bum cheek. Keep your hips as square as you can. Your left hip might lift a little higher if you're just lifting the heel. But if you're lifting the whole foot, try and keep your hips square. Just hover the foot about an inch off the floor. Keep pushing down through your right foot. Maybe you're shaking a little bit here, and that's perfectly normal. Deep breaths. For 3, for 2, and for 1. Set the foot down to the floor, roll your back all the way down, connect the hips, and take any movements that you need to. Little rock from side to side. Maybe you need to turn the head from side to side, so check in with the upper body as well as the lower body. Come back to center, place the feet to the floor. We're going to take it again, but we can lift the leg a little higher if we want to. So bend the elbows, make a fist. Inhale as you peel the hips off the floor. Come to that halfway point. Press down through your left foot. Start to lift your right heel off the floor. Keep the toes down. You can stay here again if this feels good for you today, or you can hover the foot and come back to that second point. Or you can lift the leg so that the knee's still bent but the shin is parallel to the ceiling and your foot is facing towards the end of your mat. Push out through the heel, toes draw back towards you so that leg is just as active as the bottom leg. Keep the hips square. Breathe for 3, for 2, and for 1. Set the foot down to the floor, roll your back all the way down nice and slowly. Connect the hips and just take a moment here to reset. Couple of breaths. Let's take it on the other side. Coming back to center, press down through the feet, make a fist. Inhale, start to lift your hips. Come to your bridge. Pushing down through the right foot, lifting your left heel. Keep the toes down if that feels good. Maybe you're lifting the foot off the floor, hovering it about an inch. Maybe you're lifting the leg, shin parallel to the ceiling. Keep lifting the hips, pushing down through that right foot. Use the arms for support here. Breathe for 3, for 2, and for 1. Set the foot down to the floor, roll your back all the way down. Just pause for a moment with the hips resting on the floor. Take any movements that you need to. If you need to hug the knees in, then you can. Give the knees a swish from side to side, your choice. We're going to roll ourselves up and come to seated. So just come to find a comfortable seat. We're not going to be here for too long, so if it feels nicer to have the feet out in front, then you can. If it's fine to cross the legs, then that's fine too. Wherever you are, make sure you've got length in the spine. We're going to take our arms out wide. Reach out through the fingertips. Palms are facing in forwards. Start to reach your right fingertips up to the ceiling as you take your left fingertips down. Bend your top elbow and the palm of your right hand comes to the back of the head or the back of the neck. Bend your left elbow, back of the hand to the low back, middle back, or between the shoulder blades. Start to open your arms out wide. Sorry, I've got my back to you. So we're taking it on the other side. Back of the right hand comes to the low back or middle back or between the shoulder blades. Left palm comes to back of head, back of neck or shoulder blades. Keep moving between the two. And make sure you're breathing as you move. So we're just moving slowly with control. You can pause for a moment on each side if you want to. Try and soften the shoulders, soften the face. And we're really feeling this movement and this action coming from our shoulders. Almost like we're squeezing the muscles at the same time. We're just warming up the shoulders, going to our range of motion, our range of movement. Move with the breath. Just a couple more. Your arms might be starting to get tired here, or maybe you feel like you can go on forever. Take your arms wide, bring them all the way down, give your shoulders a roll. Maybe you need to give your neck a little roll, so really tune into other areas of the body that you feel might need it. And we're going to make our way to tabletop. So take your time, get yourself to your tabletop. If you like to have padding underneath the knees, then grab that. Knees underneath hips. And then find a comfortable place for your wrists. Spread the fingers wide. And we're pushing the ground away. Find that bit of broadness across your upper back, a little bit of broadness across your chest. Still lifting the pelvic floor, drawing the low belly in, so we're hugging our low belly. Tuck the toes under. Start to sink the bum towards the heels. You don't need to connect the bum to the heels, but just try and get them as far back as feels comfortable, and then creep your fingertips forwards towards the top of your mat. So we're lengthening out through the arms, lengthening out through the sides of the body. Take your gaze between your upper arms, so the neck is long as well. So we want the neck to just be that continuation of the spine without crunching into the back of the neck. Take a couple of breaths here. Feel as though you're really breathing into the whole of the back body, so you feel that expansion of your rib cage as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, maybe you feel a little release towards the floor, but try and keep it active. The elbows are lifted. Next inhale, start to lift up, round through your spine, tuck the tailbone under, draw the chin in towards the chest, think cat pose. And with your exhale, come through to a half plank. So we're waving the spine long, we're shifting the hips forward, shoulders are over the wrists, but keep pushing the ground away. Keep the toes tucked under. Inhale, push the ground away. Start to round through your back, coming back through our cat pose, and with your exhale, sink the bum to the heels. Inhale, lift, rounding through the spine, chin to the chest, tailbone tucks under slightly, and exhale forwards to your half plank. So really lengthening out through the spine, shoulders drop away from the ears, the gaze is still down to the floor. Pause for a couple of breaths here. Keep pushing the ground away. Really strong through the arms, strong through the core. One more inhale as you push the ground away. And exhale, bum to the heels. Shift the weight back. Take a couple of breaths. Next inhale, lift yourself all the way up, round through the spine, shift the weight forward, come back to your half plank. Uncurl the toes, press through the tops of the feet and slowly start to lower your body down to the floor. Elbows are in towards the waist, come to lie down on your front. We're going to bring the hands underneath the forehead, so rest your forehead on the backs of your hands. Bend your right knee. So the sole of the foot is looking up to the ceiling. Press out through the heel so the toes are almost pointing down towards your mat. With your inhale, start to peel your right thigh off the floor. Squeeze your right butt cheek. Imagine you're trying to push your foot up to the ceiling. Don't worry about the thigh not lifting off the floor. So if it doesn't feel like it's gone very high, that's fine. I just want you to find a little squeeze through your right butt cheek. Breathe, make sure you're continuously breathing. Soften the shoulders, soften the face. You can either hold it here, just in stillness, or you can add some little pulses. So like you're pulsing out through your heel and squeezing your bum a little bit. So just these tiny little pulses. And we'll go for another 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rest your thigh down on the floor, extend the leg, top of the foot rests to the floor. Give your hips a little wiggle if you need to. And we'll take it on the other side. Come back to stillness, bending your left knee. Flex the foot, press out through the heel, toes point down. Inhale, start to peel your thigh, your left thigh off the floor. Don't worry about it not going too high, but try and lift to your full range of movement and motion, that was. So squeezing the left butt cheek. Relax the shoulders, relax the face. Maybe you're adding those little pulses, so little squeezes through your left bum cheek. Teeny tiny movements. And we'll go for another 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Set the thigh down on the floor, extend the leg, top of the foot rests to the floor. Little wiggle of the hips. Bring your hands by your chest. Push yourself up onto all fours. Tuck the toes once again. Press down through the fingertips and the knuckles and make your way to downward facing dog. So really pushing the ground away with the fingers. Lift the hips high to the sky. Look between the feet or to the back of the mat. And have a good pedal out through the legs here. So lengthening out the arms, lengthening out through the sides of the body. You can keep the knees bent, they don't need to be straight, but you can send one heel down to the floor and then the other. Allow your neck to relax, so check in with any little bits of tension in your neck or shoulders. We're going to start to walk the hands back towards the feet, so padding the hands into the floor, really pushing the ground away. As you come all the way to the back of your mat, set the heels down, bend the knees, let the whole body hang heavy. Just allow the whole body to hang, have a sway from side to side. Maybe you're taking hold of your elbows. Allowing this little decompression of the spine. Push down through the feet, allow the arms to hang heavy, and then roll yourself up super slowly. Take as many breaths as you need to. Chin tucks into the chest. And make your way up to find your mountain pose. So we should be at the back of the mat. Bring the feet to about hip distance, so making sure that they're not too close together. We want one foot on the left side of the mat, one foot on the right side, and imagine you've got a line drawn down the middle. Press equally through all 3 points of the feet. Find your mountain pose, reach out through the crown of the head, palms slightly open towards the front of your mat, little brightness in the fingers. And as you push down through the feet, you feel that firmness start to rise up through the legs. Don't worry if you can't feel it. These things come with practice. Just really imagine you're pushing the feet into the floor. Find a little lift in your inner arches of your feet. And take a couple of breaths. Maybe you close the eyes or soften the gaze. You should feel fully active all the way from the soles of the feet to the crown of the head and out through the fingertips. That slight lift in the pelvic floor, that drawing in of the low belly. Bring your hands to your heart center. Keep your left heel where it is, but turn your toes out to almost about 11 o'clock, I would say. You can always move the foot as we step forward. We're going to step our right foot forward, so take as many hops as you need to. Bend the front knee, stack the front knee over the ankle. If you need to turn your back toes slightly, then you can. Chest is facing the front of the mat, so don't worry if the hips are at an angle. Just try and turn your chest to face forwards. And then reach your fingertips up to the ceiling. Palms can stay together, or you can open your arms out. You can keep your gaze looking up to the ceiling. You can look straight out ahead or down to the floor. Warrior one. Breathe. for 3, for 2, and for 1. Start to bring your hands down to the heart center. Start to lift your left heel and turn your knee to face down to the floor. So we're bending the knee and we're going to slowly lower our back knee down to the floor. If you need support, you can bring hands down to floor or blocks and then set the knee down. But this is really good for working the legs, working the hamstrings, getting that strength in the legs. Functional movement here. Right hand comes to right thigh. Inhale as you sweep your left arm forwards and up. Exhale, roll it back and down. Inhale, sweep forwards and up. And exhale, roll it back and down. 1 more circle. Inhale, forwards and up. And exhale, roll it back and down. Next, inhale, sweep both arms up. As you breathe out, hands come down to the floor. Step your right knee back to meet your left knee. Come to your tabletop. You can keep the toes tucked under if you want to. Inhale as you dip the belly, lift the sit bones, shine your heart forwards, lift the chin, lift the gaze, cow pose. Exhale, tuck the tailbone under, draw the belly button in, round through your upper back, chin to chest. Inhale, dip the belly. Lift the sit bones, shine your heart forward, lift the chin, lift the gaze. And exhale, round through to your cat pose. Inhale to come back to center. Exhale here. Next, inhale, lift your right knee off the floor. Keep the knee bent, sole of the foot looks up to the ceiling. Slight squeeze through your right butt cheek. Start to bring your right heel towards your right butt cheek. So we're really squeezing through the hamstring as well here. But if your hamstring starts to cramp, ease off a little bit. So don't feel like you need to squeeze too much. Keep pushing evenly through both hands. Inhale as you dip the belly, lift the leg a little higher, shine your heart forward, lift the chin. Go easy here. Exhale as you round through the spine, bring the knee towards the nose. Inhale, lift, dip the belly, lift the leg, squeeze heel to bum, lift the chin. Exhale, round through. Inhale, coming back to center. And with your exhale, turn the knee out to the side and start to bring your knee forward, slowly, slowly. You have the option here of leaning forwards and tapping or trying to tap your right knee to your right elbow. Don't worry if it doesn't get there. Just that action of squeezing through your right side waist. And then step your right foot to meet your left foot. Lift all the way up, hands come to the heart center. Tuck your left toes under if they're not there already. Make sure that your front knee is stacked over your front ankle. So we want a really good amount of space to be able to lift back up to our high lunge. If you think it's going to be too much today, you can always bring hands to floor, lift the back knee first, and then roll yourself up. If you're lifting all in one go, take a breath in. And with your exhale, push down through the feet. Really lift that back knee. Push through that front thigh. Make sure you're on 2 lines so you're not feeling all wobbly. So we're still on both sides of the mat. But remember, hands can come down. We can lift ourselves up however we need to get there. You can keep hands at heart or you can reach your fingertips up to the ceiling in your high lunge. That back knee can be bent or you can extend the leg a little more, feeling a slight squeeze through your left butt cheek. Breathe for 3, for 2, and for 1. Hands come down to floor or to blocks. Step your left foot to meet your right foot at the top of the mat and fold forwards. Just allow the body to hang here. Bring the hands to the shins. Inhale as you lengthen out through the arms, lengthen out through the spine so the torso is shining down to the floor. You can slide your hands up to your thighs if you want to and roll the shoulders back and down. The neck is long. Take a couple of breaths here in your half forward fold. Take a breath in. And with your exhale, start to bend the knees, bring the weight into the heels, sweep your arms forwards, and with your inhale, keep stretching up. Straighten out through the legs, reach your arms up to the ceiling, stand up, and exhale, hands to the heart center, down by the sides of the body. Mountain pose at the top of your mat. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, bend the knees, hinge forward from the hips and fold all the way down. Hands come down to floor or blocks. Make our way back to downward dog, so however you need to get there. If you want to go through hands and knees, then you can. Tucking the toes, pressing through the fingertips, lift the hips high to the sky, downward facing dog. Take as many breaths as you need to get there. Always mindful of how you're moving. Walking the hands back towards the feet, so taking your time to get to the back of your mat now. Set the heels down, bend the knees, let the whole body hang heavy. Roll up through the spine, tuck the chin into the chest, arms are dangling, and we roll ourselves up, back to find our mountain pose at the back of our mat. Take a moment here. Press evenly through both feet, reach out through the crown of the head. Find that opening across the chest, so we're not standing all hunched. Palms are open, chest is open. Almost like we're feeling proud at the back of our mat. Bring the hands to the heart center. Let's take it on the other side. So right heel stays where it is. Just turn your toes out to between 1 and 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock. You can always move that foot wherever you need to. So step your left foot forward. You can take your time to step it. So not too wide a stance here. Make sure you feel comfortable. Make sure that back knee feels comfortable. So you might need to shuffle the toes around a little bit here. Front knee is stacking over the front ankle, or it might be slightly behind. Chest faces forwards. And then reach your fingertips up to the ceiling. Maybe you open your palms out. You can keep looking up, you can look forward, you can look down. Press through the outer edge of that back foot, so really strong through both legs here. Reconnect with your breath. For 3. For 2. And for 1. Hands come down to the heart center. Start to lift your right heel. Turn your toes to face forward so your knee starts to point down. And then we're going to lower down. So however you need to get there, if you feel like you need to bring hands down, then that's fine. We're still working the legs as we slowly lower down. And once you're down, you might need to shuffle the feet around a little bit. So remember, if we're coming from here and our feet are quite close together, it's going to feel tricky to get down. So we need to make sure that front foot is quite far forward so that we've got the space to get down. Once you're down, left hand comes onto left knee. Inhale, sweep your right arm forwards and up. Exhale, roll it back and down. Just nice big circles, about 3. Inhale, forwards and up. Exhale, roll it back and down. 1 more. Inhale, forwards and up. Exhale, roll it back and down. Next time the arm comes forward, sweep both arms up. And then hands come down to the floor. Step it back to your tabletop. Finding your tabletop. Knees underneath hips. Spread the fingers. Inhale as you dip the belly, lift the sit bones, shine your heart forward, lift the chin, lift the gaze. Exhale, round through the spine, come through to cat pose. Next, inhale, coming back through center, lift your left knee off the floor. Heel presses out, so we're coming to that We're lifting the leg. Squeeze your left butt cheek. Take a couple of breaths here as you set yourself up. Squeeze your left heel to your bum. Next, inhale, dip the belly, shine your heart forward. Lift the leg a little higher. Lift the chin. Exhale, round through the spine, knee towards the nose. Inhale, lift. Dip the belly, lift the leg, shine the heart forwards. Exhale, round through. Inhale, come all the way back up to center. And exhale as you turn your left knee out to the side and start to bring it forwards towards your left arm. So shift the weight forwards. Imagine you're crunching or like squeezing through your left side waist as you're trying to bring it forward. Don't worry about getting the knee to touch. I want you to just feel as though you're squeezing your side waist. If you do tap, that's great, but don't worry if you don't. Step your left foot to your left hand. Lift yourself all the way back up. Hands come to heart center. We're in our low lunge. So make sure you've got plenty of space. Front knee is stacking over the ankle. Back toes are tucked under. We're going to lift ourselves back up. So if you want hands to can come down to the floor, lift the back knee. Slowly roll yourself up. Or do it without hands. Take a breath in. And exhale, push down through the feet, lift all the way up and find your high lunge. And don't forget, you can always shuffle the feet around a little bit. So if you need to lift the knee and shuffle and then come up, then you can. Do what feels right for you. Reach your fingertips up to the ceiling. 3 breaths. For 3. For 2, and for 1. Hands come down to the floor. Step your right foot to meet your left foot at the top of the mat. Fold forwards. Allow your whole body to hang heavy. Hands come to the shins. With your inhale, push your shins away, lengthen out to the arms. Body is parallel to the floor. Reach out through the sit bones, reach out through the crown of the head. Half forward fold. Take a breath in. And with your exhale, start to bend the knees, sink the bum back and down. Weight is in the heels. Sweep your arms forwards and inhale to stand all the way up. Extend the legs, reach your arms up. And then hands come down to heart center with your exhale. And find your mountain pose at the front of your mat. So we're going to come through to chair pose. We're going to explore our chair pose a little bit more here. So don't feel like you need to stand sideways to the camera. If you want to turn to face the camera, then that's fine. Just make sure you can see me easily, so we don't have to keep turning the head. So starting with the feet about hip distance. So we've been here a few times before, but let's just start at the beginning. Best place to start. So finding those 3 points of the feet, hands come to heart center. And we might lift the toes a little bit here and just really press into those 3 points. So finding that little lift in the inner arch, making sure you're pressing through the ball of the big toe and the ball of the little toe at the same time, and just really getting that connection of the feet to the floor. Take a breath in. With your exhale, start to bend the knees and sink the bum back and down. You're coming to sit back in your chair, in your seat of power. So the weight is really in the heels here. So you should be able to lift the toes and keep pressing through the balls of the feet as well. We don't need to sink too low. We can just have a slight bend in the knees. Keep the chest lifted, so make sure we haven't just folded forwards as well. Set the toes down to the floor, just relax the toes. And check in with your pelvis. So we've done this little tuck and tilt thing before. So if you like that, you can bring one hand to the low belly, one hand to the low back, or hands to hips. And have a little tuck and tilt. So we're tucking the tailbone under and drawing the belly button in, really scooping and lengthening down the low back. And then we tilt the pelvis forward, so we arch into the lower back and really lengthen down the front of the body and the hip points face down. You can do this with keeping hands at heart center as we just move between the two and feel the extremes of both. So really sticking the bum out and arching into the lower back. Be careful with your back here though. And we feel like we're sticking the ribs out. And then exhale as we tuck the tailbone under, really draw the belly in and just notice how much less space that we've got in the front of the body. Take a couple more of these just in your own time. And then find that place in the middle that feels really balanced. So we're not overarching the lower back and sticking the bum out and sticking the ribs out, but we're also not super scooping and lengthening too much down the low back. So there's a place in the middle that feels really neutral and comfortable for our pelvis, for the front and the back of the body. Weight should still be in the heels. Check you can see your toes poking out over your knees. And here you might want to explore what happens when you send the knees forwards. So just notice how this feels in your ankles. How does this feel in your knees, in your hips? For me, it doesn't feel great. It might feel different for you. But send the weight back. We want to really get into the glutes and the thighs. Stability through the heels. Take a couple more breaths here. Neutral pelvis, pressing into the heels. We don't need to sink too low in our chair. Soften the shoulders, soften the face. Draw your low belly in. Find that little lift in your pelvic floor. Breathe. For 3. For 2. And for 1, inhale, push through the feet, stand all the way up, reach your arms up, take a full body stretch. And exhale as you bring the hands down and find your mountain pose again. Take any little movements here. If you feel like a forward fold would feel nice right now, then you can just to ease out your low back, or maybe a half fold. Or you can stand and just do a little bit of a wiggle of the hips. Let's take it a little bit further. So you can keep the feet hip distance if you want to. If you want to try it with the feet together, then you're more than welcome. It's nice to explore these things, but remember we can always step the feet apart if we need to. So big toes are touching, heels are slightly apart. So we've got this little internal rotation of the thighs. And as we sink down, we're really squeezing the knees and the thighs together. So start with the hands together. Take a breath in. Exhale as you bend the knees and sink the bum back and down. We don't need to go too far. Check you can see your toes again. So remember, our knees aren't shooting forwards. We're not just sinking down. We're actually sending the weight back. Sitting back in our little chair behind us. Maybe you do that little tuck and tilt of the pelvis if that felt nice for you. Take a couple of breaths here, checking in with the lower half of the body. So from the feet, weight is in the heels, spread the toes. Knees are back, we can see our toes. Neutral pelvis, low belly drawing in, little length in the low back. Ribs are hugging in, so we're not flaring the ribs forwards, but the chest is slightly lifted. If you want to, you can reach your arms out, palms are facing in. Soften the shoulders. Soften the face. Maybe you see how it feels to sink the bum a little lower and then lift yourself back up again. So just taking it to different points, noticing how it feels, that strength in the legs as you sink the weight down. And then how it feels to lift back up. Make sure you're breathing. You can keep your arms reaching forwards, or if you want to see how it feels to reach your arms up super slowly. So we're reaching the arms, we're keeping the chest lifted, the whole lower half of the body stays the same. Make sure you're not sticking your ribs and your bum out as you lift the arms up. So we're keeping the low ribs in, lengthen the low back. You can bend the elbows here as well, so don't feel like you need to reach and stretch. You can soften the elbows to find a bit of space around the neck. And if you want to, you can look up. Deep breaths. Do a little check through the body. Notice what you're feeling. Maybe the body's really starting to heat up here. This is a really powerful and dynamic pose. Strong in the legs, but we don't need to sink the hips too low. Breathe for another 3, 2, and 1. Press through the feet. Inhale as you stand all the way up. Reach your arms up, full body stretch. And exhale, hands all the way down. Come back to your mountain pose. Feel free to have a little move around, any little movements that you need to make. And then we'll make our way back to the top of our mat. Press down through both feet equally. Palms slightly open to the front of the mat. Find your mountain pose. Reach out through the crown of the head. And maybe you close the eyes or soften the gaze. And do a little scan through the body. So noticing how the body feels here. Maybe you can really feel that energy running through your body. Maybe you feel a little warmer. Maybe your heart's beating a little faster. Don't worry if you can't feel anything or if there aren't any sensations that are really jumping out at you. Just observe. And breathe. Next, inhale, sweep your arms up, full body stretch. Exhale, bend the knees, hinge forward from the hips and fold down super slowly. Just allow yourself a little bit of time to hang out here, just a couple of breaths, maybe a sway from side to side. Bend the knees generously, plant the hands into the floor or the blocks and step it back to all fours. Bring your big toes together, take the knees a little wider, sink the bum to the heels and find your child's pose. Remember, you can always place your forehead on a block or the backs of the hands. If you need a bit of support, you can have the palms facing up or down. Or you can bring the arms down by the sides of the body, a little bit more restorative. Taking a deep breath into the whole of the back, feel your rib cage expand. And then exhale, maybe you let it out through the mouth. Just see if you can soften a little more into the floor. Maybe you feel your hips soften. Your chest move a little closer to the floor. Your shoulders soften, your face soften. Bring the hands by the knees and slowly roll yourself up. Take your time. Come to sit on the bum, swing the legs round and roll yourself all the way down onto your back. Grab anything that you like to have for Shavasana because we're not far off. So just make sure everything is nearby so you don't have to scrabble around after, and come to lie down. Once you're down, hug the knees into the chest, little rock from side to side. Take your arms wide or to cactus arms and then drop your knees down to the right. Maybe you turn your head to the left. Breathing into the left side of the rib cage, the left side waist. Every exhale, see if you can soften a little more into the floor. And maybe you need to move that top leg to really feel like you can rest down. Maybe you need to move the arms a little bit. Bring your head and your knees back to center. Drop the knees down to the other side. Maybe you turn your head to the right. Find a place for your right leg to relax. Breathing into the right side of the rib cage. Allowing yourself this time to slow down. Bring your head back to center, bring your knees back to center, and make your way to Shavasana for your final relaxation. So if you prefer to have the knees bent, or if you're feeling any discomfort in the low back, feet wide, knees knocking in, you can have the hands resting on the low belly, or the palms facing up, backs of the hands on the floor, or you can extend the legs, bit of space between the legs, let the feet flop out to the sides. And just come to lie the whole body down, closing the eyes or softening the gaze. Taking a deep breath in through the nose, feeling your stomach or your ribs rise. And then exhale, let it out through the mouth. A really long and slow exhale. Take another deep breath in. Long breath out. Just allow your body to really start to relax here. Allow the legs to be heavy, the arms to be heavy. Take another deep breath in. Long breath out, softening the shoulders, softening the face. Taking the tongue off the roof of the mouth. And just scanning through the body. Noticing how the body feels at the end of your practice compared to the start. Not making any judgments about anything that comes up. Just allowing yourself this time to observe. Maybe you really notice the effects that chair pose has had on your body. Utkatasana, our fierce, powerful pose. Different postures can be great teachers. They all give us something. They help us to learn about ourselves, our bodies. What feels good and what doesn't. Find parts of chair pose that you can celebrate. Things that you found really lovely about your practice. Small wins. Maybe you find something that you need to explore and that you might need to work on. Chair pose might be something that you need to explore time and time again. but it's all part of the practice, all part of the journey of yoga. Utkatasana can help build our inner strength, our self-confidence, our self-awareness. So take these last few moments to rest and allow this powerful and fierce pose to cultivate these qualities for you. Your own personal seat of power, whatever that means for you. If you feel like you need to rest a little longer, don't feel like you have to move. But if you're ready to move, start to bring a little bit of movement into the fingers, into the toes, rolling through the wrists and the ankles, slowly waking up the body. And then hugging the knees into the chest. Give yourself a squeeze, a very well-deserved hug for making it onto your mat today, for embracing chair pose. And then when you're ready, rolling onto one side. Maybe you curl up into a little ball. Just allow yourself to rest. Take a few more soft, easy breaths here. And then slowly pushing yourself up to come to a comfortable seat. You can keep the eyes closed to keep the attention within, or you can blink the eyes open as you find your comfortable seat, either with the legs crossed or the legs out in front. Find a bit of length through the spine, soften the shoulders, bring the hands to the heart center. Taking a deep breath in, let it out through the mouth as you bow the forehead to the fingers, bowing down to yourselves, bowing down to each other, and thanking you all so much for joining me this morning. Namaste. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.